Welcome back to Prime Arcana. With this week's tale, we return back to check on Meryl and Lortho. If you recall, the last time we saw them, the pair was stepping into the spire of the Ice Heart. And now, we see where that takes them, and who that takes them to. Pushing open the heavy door to the IceSpire, Meryl and Lortho step into a broad, shadowy chamber, far colder than the morning air outside. Sharp gusts of wind slip through gaps in the stone walls, whistling drafts that swirl past your ankles and ruffle your collars. Looking around, they see a few dusty lanterns hanging from corroded hooks along the walls. Their meager flames do little to fight back either the gloom or the cold. Cracks zigzag up once proud pillars supporting a second floor. A few are braced by wooden beams, which prevent a section from caving in. Your gaze drifts across multiple weathered statues of Anirak positioned around the room, or what's left of them. Most of the statues are chipped and broken. In more than one case, you see a missing limb or an entire head is gone, leaving behind just a jagged stump. The marvel depictions of the goddess show her as a beautiful, wise elven warrior with long, flowing hair. In the center of the large room, you see a massive, empty rusted brazier. Around it stand 6 figures, all wearing dark blue hooded cloaks. They sing in a low, lilting chant. Though the elegant melody is serene and pleasant to listen to, you can't understand a single word. When the wooden door creaks across the stone floor, each worshiper stops singing and turns to face you. Roll perception for me. 21. Good job. You see that 4 of them are elves. One of them is a half-orc, and the last has the face of an eagle. One of the elves lifts a hand and murmurs something in his language. The others bow their heads in unison, then step away from the brazier to scatter, either across the room or up the creaking staircase to a higher floor. The elf lowers his hood and turns to face you. You see a man well past his prime, with dull silver hair thinning around his temples and lines etched into his brow. He bears a thin-lipped, firm expression and walks with an air of authority as he crosses the chilly floor with silent steps. When he draws near, he regards you and Lortho with a calm gaze. "Welcome," he says in common, bowing his head in a respectful nod. "I am High Shepherd Elanian, caretaker of this spire, in the name of the goddess Nianthera." Beside you, Lortho mumbles, "But I thought this was a temple of Anirak. It's her symbol outside." The High Shepherd looks down at him with compassionate but tired eyes. "Anirak, Yela, Torrentera, Niranthala. The humans had their own name for her. Different cultures, different languages. Same Frost Mother." Lortho nods. "Oh." He turns to look up at you. "Well, at least we're in the right place." And then the High Shepherd says, "What may we offer you, strangers? Have you come to kneel before the Frost Mother?"
This is not what she was hoping for, but she is feeling like at least this person is being welcoming. And she trusts him when he says that Anirak has different names, but it's still an area to worship the same entity. I didn't know Anirak had so many different names, but we would really love to offer a prayer here, if that's okay.
He smiles at you and he goes, "Absolutely."
Is there a specific place we need to go? At home we have the winter worship stone, but I don't see one here. She kind of looks around.
"No such stone has ever existed here, but if it comforts your people, who's to say it's not a gift from the Frost Mother?" And Lortho goes, "Well, then what do you pray to?" And he goes, "We pray to the cold itself, over a dead brazier. Our goddess is one of frigid nights and the hush of snowfall. The cold is part of her gift, testing us, teaching us to defy pain and overcome it, reminding us to rely on each other. When we have fuel enough, we light that brazier. He nods to the ancient fire pit, but these days it's rare to see the flames dance in her honor. We were just completing our morning hymns moments ago.
And Meryl kind of like stands on her tiptoes to look past him towards the brazier, which you said was rusted. So she's feeling like it's the same kind of like look that the outside has. And maybe it's starting to slightly occur to her that this is not a well-followed goddess in the city. But because of how everything's been going, that doesn't really bother her. I think she's not really that interested in what, the general public of this city cares about. So she's feeling more confident that, okay, if this is where they worship her, then this is acceptable to Anirak.
Lortho goes, "You've got snow seers, though, right? The Way of the Snow Strider?" And Elanian's like, "If that's a religious title, no. Our order rises from apprentice to snowbound to shepherd." Pointing across the room, Elanian brings her attention to one of the other elves sitting against the far wall. On the table in front of her is a small block of ice that she's delicately carving. As the sun has risen more and a little bit more of the light has come in through the tower's vertical windows, you can see that she wears old, tarnished, golden armor inlaid with white snowflakes. That is Ice Warden Vale. She keeps what's left of our tower safe from vandals, but there are few Ice Wardens left. She's the only paladin who remains at this temple, but we have no snow seers.
She looks over at her and she gives her a big grin. She's trying to be disarming.
Ice Warden Vale smiles back at you.
Okay, so then she relaxes and then her smile turns a little bit more genuine. And I think she might even remind her just a little bit of Yara. Oh, that's interesting. In our village, there's snow seers. My aunt is one.
And my mom is one.
Oh, and she looks at Lortho and she says, yeah. They spend their time worshiping and making offerings, and we even have a yearly celebration for her. So if we're welcome here, we would love to pray.
And he smiles upon hearing that, and he goes, "That's wonderful. How beautiful that the practices of praise can grow so different, even under the same worship. And if you'd like to pray, you're more than welcome." He kind of like looks over at you guys and just sees how dirty you are, and he's like, "If you'd like to rest, or if you'd care to learn more about our liturgy, you are welcome. Though I fear we have little grandeur left to offer."
Liturgy. I don't know if she would know that word. What's the liturgy?
It's how we worship.
That's different than praying over the brazier?
Oh, it's much more complicated than that. That's just our morning rituals.
Oh. So what do you do for that?
Oh, it would take hours, days, years to teach you something like that. I'm sure you understand. Maybe over lunch or dinner or, what? Actually, was there something in particular you hope to find here? Or was it just the prayers?
Well, we were thinking that we would find other fox folk here. We're new to the city. We didn't, it's just maybe one of the first familiar things we saw. So we were really hopeful that we would find other people like us. We came here with, well, it's kind of a long story, but we could tell you that over lunch too, because she's hungry again already.
Well, that sounds good. I'll leave you to pray. And he turns to kind of go wander off towards what might be a kitchen.
And she kind of looks over at Ice Warden Vale and then approaches the brazier that they were standing over.
And Lortho's right next to you. He gets up beside you and he goes, "This place is falling apart."
It doesn't seem like Anirak is well known here. I mean, what, that was 5 people, 6 people.
It's kind of sad. I feel like Anirak deserves better than this. Why don't you think they're doing a better job keeping up with everything? I feel like more people would come if they did a better job with the temple.
Maybe the people aren't interested in what they have to say. I don't know. I mean, I think you're right. All of the other temples we've seen with people bustling in and out are a lot more fancy. I mean, it is very cold in here. which, is representative of Anirak, but a lot of people in the city don't have fur, so, maybe they just don't like coming inside. And she kind of shivers because it is very cold in there.
Maybe they just don't appreciate winter like we do.
Maybe. It's the best season of all. Gosh.
It's the only season.
Well, I mean, there's mud season. And she motions at her boots again.
Yeah.
She looks down and she's gonna kind of try to mimic how the group of people was standing when Meryl and Lortho walked in. And so I think probably put her hands out over top of it and she'll say, Anirak, please continue to guide us through this venture. Thank you for providing ongoing assistance and support. Thank you for guiding us to your people. They seem to have slightly different customs, but we trust in your guidance, and we trust that you brought us here for a reason. Thank you.
And Lortho unshoulders his pack and sets it down. He sits down on the stone floor and crosses his little stubby legs, places his hands on his knees and closes his eyes and takes a deep breath and goes, Sower of deep winter, please continue to guide us as you guide the winter wind. Help me see the dangers that are on our path and through the lives of others. Give me a sign. I need to know who we can trust. Please. That's all I ask for is a sign. Lortho falls silent for a moment and then he stands back up, picks his backpack up. He kind of sidles up next to Meryl and he goes, do you trust him?
I mean, he's answered all of our questions so far, and does he have anywhere on him the sign of Anirak, the frozen pine cone, on his outfit? Or is that something that people around are wearing?
There's a clasp that's holding his cloak together.
Okay. I mean, I don't think he would wear Anirak's symbol if he wasn't a devoted follower.
Yeah.
And who can we trust but people who share our faith?
No, I know. I think you're right. Just asking. You're the hunter. You've got a different eye than I do.
She kind of looks around when he brings that up, and she's gonna try to see if there's anything that would lead her to be concerned.
Roll a perception.
If there's... Okay. 18.
Okay. So yeah, no, nothing. Ice Warden Vale stops her carving briefly to look over at you guys, and she gives you a nod and then goes back to her shaping block. There's nothing. There's no danger here.
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel... she pauses and closes her eyes and takes in the smells and the sounds of the room and realizes that it's the same way that when she's hunting, she's kind of pausing to take in her surroundings, and she's pretty confident in her instincts, even though she's in a new place. Yeah, I think we're okay. Are you worried? Do you need to get anything off your chest?
Well, that Buster guy said not to trust anyone who wanted to help us, so I'll keep an eye on him. And all this is just, how can our religions be so different from theirs when we worship the same God? It just doesn't make any sense. Plus, our name for her is way better. I couldn't even say his version. What was it?
I can't say it either.
Yeah, see? Just kind of weird. I just think it's weird. And then at that point, the High Shepherd comes out and he's got a little tray. And on the tray are 3 little plates. Each plate has 3 little crackers and an ice cube. He goes, here's your lunch.
And she's gonna take it, and she's going to pretend that it is just the best thing that anyone's ever handed her, because she's trying to be gracious. And she looks over at Ice Warden Vale, who's carving an ice cube, a big one. And she looks over at High Shepherd and she says, Did she make these?
He goes, yes, that's exactly what she's doing. She's carving our daily ice cubes. It's a process that she takes extremely seriously. Very delicate. She goes through roughly about 50 of those blocks a day. It keeps both her knife sharp and her skills quick.
And she's going to pop the ice cube into her mouth.
It's the best tasting ice cube you've ever had in your entire life. He goes, the water comes from the ravine and the underwater caverns below the city.
That's really interesting. They seem very protective of their water here, so...
You have to pay quite a fee to get it delivered. It's one of the reasons
I
why
was hoping they would...
we are so broke. All of our money goes to giant blocks of ice.
She tilts her head. So in order to worship in Iraq, you have to pay the city to get the ice.
Well, we can't...
She looks over, though. They're paying for ice.
The river at home just makes it. This city makes no sense. Sir, we get ice for free back home. The High Shepherd just kind of like nods his head and he goes, it's wonderful. How far do you live from Frostfair? And Lortho goes, about a day's walk. He just kind of like nods and he goes, is this your first time in the city? I don't think I've ever seen whatever it is you are before.
Meryl sniffs and stands up straighter. Yes, it's our first time. We've had people from our village come here before. And that reminds me, and she's gonna like try to...
When you say that, Elania goes, well, if they did, they didn't come here.
And that kind of, that's the first thing that kind of unsettles her because Caro, like, she would have expected. So now she's like, oh my gosh, if Caro ignored this place, like, oh gosh, like, should we even be here? Like, 10 million thoughts running through her head in 1 second about
roll an insight for me.
14.
Okay, so it's either that or that Caro's being a bad boy. He wasn't worshiping while he was traveling. it's one or the other.
So maybe that's like the follow-up thought like, well, maybe he just, it's like she's gonna try to push it down, like, well, maybe he just didn't come here because, you know, he had better things to do, as he would say. Actually, we're here kind of for a specific reason. We were looking for, well, we're supposed to meet with someone named Ruvidon Kaskar, but we heard he passed yesterday. Do you know anything about that or where we could find his family? We really need to meet with them. That's kind of the whole reason we're here.
Lortho tugs on Meryl's sleeve and he goes, hey, I got an idea.
What?
Offer him some of the money to fix this place so he'll take us into the noble district if he knows where this guy lives. I can hear you. Then both of you are just kind of like, oh. And he goes, I am aware of Ruvidon. I never met the man, but Ruvidon Kaskar was more than a noble. He was an advocate, a reformer, and a friend to many. Ruvidon was not like the other nobles. His work for the disenfranchised earned him respect in every corner of Frostfair. The city rarely mourns a nobleman like him. In my time here, I can think of only one other who's earned such a drastic outpouring of love.
Who was that?
Terrascon Darva, one of the founders of this city, nearly 125 years ago. He died defending the city from a frost giant reeve, our last official one.
Wow.
The city still stands, which is quite a thing to say, considering the wrath of giants.
She nods because she knows. Well, if Ruvidon's reputation was as respected as somebody who saved the city from giants, her eyes get big. She looks over at Lortho and she's like, man, I wish we had gotten here like a day earlier. Is his family as well respected as he was?
They are. Quite beloved, but Ruvidon more than any. He has done more single-handedly than his family has done in the last 200 years. And Lortho's jaw drops and he goes, what? How old are you? I am 375. What? Years are much kinder to elves than many other races. And Lortho kind of like looks over at Meryl and he goes, the oldest person in our village is 100 and that's Meryl's grandma. And she looks like a wriggled up old nut.
Hey!
She does! I'm not trying to be mean.
She definitely looks older than him. She like nods her head back to Lanyon. Man, so you've seen a lot.
I have seen much of the city grow. And I do know where the Kaskar family live.
Her eyes get big. Can we give you a donation of 1 gold? And then you can take us there?
All donations are welcome. But Our Lady has brought you here. What greater gift could I ask for than to serve her will? And he clasps his hand together and he goes, As for the noble district, all in Frost Fair recognize our clergy robes, and the guards rarely impede mendicants. If you wish to see the Cascars, I will happily walk you to their home myself.
Wow, thank you. See, even though he has a different name for Nirak, he's got her spirit within him. And she pulls 1 gold out of her pouch because she still wants to, she feels that, because clearly the way that the city operates is you show thanks and appreciation with money. That's all she's learned so far. So she's gonna hand him a gold.
He takes it happily. He says, Thank you, my dear. One moment, and then he walks over to a nearby chest and opens it up and returns with 2 folded dark blue cloaks in his arms that are just like the ones that he and Ice Warden Vale and the other ones are wearing. And he goes, These will help you blend in. No one will question a pair of robed mendicants following a high shepherd. And then, holding the cloaks up, Elanian looks down at Lortho and he goes, A bit too long, though. Do you have a moment while I wait to hymn this?
Yeah, of course. Especially if you think it'll help. People have been kind of looking at us funny. And she, wriggles her tail.
That doesn't surprise me. This city has many races. There's elves, halflings, gnomes, dwarves, lizard folk, minotaur. I've seen a couple tabaxis on occasion, but again, what are you exactly? What do you call yourself? You look like a fox.
Yeah, we're fox folk.
Ah, well, that's easy.
She stands up even taller.
One moment. And he kind of heads back into that same room that he went and got the 3 crackers and the ice cube from to hymn the cloaks, leaving you alone in the room with Lortho. This is working out. I don't think anything bad's going to happen. I think we're just going to get the cloaks and he's going to walk us through the city and the guards are going to let us pass through and then he's going to take us directly to the rich people's house and we're going to get the help that we need and then we're going to just probably be on the way home tonight.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. I think...
Okay, one bad day, one good day. Okay, I can live with that.
I think... Me too. And I think, honestly, it might be better... I don't know. How do you feel about maybe going back and trying to get on the road before we maybe we should sleep on the road tonight. Get out of the city.
Yeah.
Just kind of put it behind us a little bit and then get home as quickly as possible because I know they're waiting for us and
No, I'm down. I'm not particularly trying to stay in this city a single minute longer than we need to. Not that I hate it, but it's not my favorite place. I'm glad we found these guys, though. High Shepherd Elanian seems like he's totally on the up and up.
He must have a charitable spirit if he's willing to take time out of his day to walk us over there.
Yeah,
And all the good things he said about Rubidon, this is going to go well, I think.
I agree. And then a few more moments pass as the sun continues to rise and more light filters in through the thin tower windows before Elanian comes back down and hands you each, a robe, and he says these should make you a little less conspicuous.
She puts the cloak on.
Lortho does as well, and both of you die. No.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. The High
Shepherd.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Have fun. Steve and Danielle. That was good.
Lortho does as well, and the High Shepherd glances over at Ice Warden Vale, who pauses her little ice cube carving, and he says, I'm escorting these visitors to the noble district. Watch the tower in my absence. Vale's eyes briefly flit over the pair of you before she nods and returns. Cuts a perfect cube off. Literally, she just sticks the dagger into the larger block and presses down, and a perfect ice cube just pops right off of it. And Elanian looks back at you and goes, Are you ready to go? The sun appears to have risen. I'm sure the city is really stirring by now.
Yeah, we're ready. And she'll shove those 3 crackers in her mouth and then put the plate he gave her, I guess, on the floor because she doesn't know where else to put it.
Lortho's plate has been empty since 0.02 seconds after the guy gave it to him. And
she'll put it on top of his plate.
Yeah.
On the floor.
and like awkwardly like putting it down on his
Yeah.
plate, awkwardly looking at Ice Warden Vale as she's putting it down.
Like she does like a squat, like she's still looking at him, so she's not looking at the floor where she puts it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like clatters a little bit, and
Little
she stands up.
It's like she sets it down like 80% correctly, and then has to like gently slide it over to get it to the 100%.
Yeah, she's being very careful. This is a temple.
And because it's just this large echoing chamber, like the sound is just unbelievably loud. And Elanian pushes the against the tower's heavy wooden doors, and cold air just rushes in. And outside, you can hear a town crier. Papers here. Got your morning papers. Read about the drama last night in the Foundry District here only. We got the news. We got the truth. Papers here. And Elanian steps through the doorway out onto the worn steps outside, followed by you and Lortho, and says, "The noble district isn't far. Follow me."
Her attention's kind of caught by the crier, and she's looking over. Is there like a crowd of people gathering papers from him?
No, he's just walking down the street yelling. There's people, but none of them are like, one out of maybe 20 has like paid attention to him.
She looks at Lannion and she says, like, there's a way to tell yesterday's events on a handout?
Yes. The town crier, you mean? He's bringing out the news. And Lortho goes, "What's the news?" And
He says it all deep.
Yeah, and the High Shepherd goes, "It's a dictation of what's happening in the city." Oh, okay. So it's like the scrolls back home. It's like the storybooks. And Elanian's like, "Not quite. It's not fictitious." And Lortho's like, "No, I get it. It's not fictitious." So like you kind of have an idea because like you guys the elders do write down like everybody's stuff, but it's more in the form of like a storybook. It's like lore for you guys. Everything's all story based. So you kind of get it.
There information, do you think, about Ruvenon in there?
There absolutely probably is. Beware,
Found
they
over...
are expensive.
Oh, of course it's money.
3 gold.
Can't just tell you what happened for free.
Never, my dear. 3 gold for a page.
Oh. Well, I don't have 3 gold.
And Lortho's like, "I don't have 3 gold either." And then Elanian hands you the gold back.
Her ears perk up. She says, Are you sure?
If neither of you even have 3 gold, you're not in a position to donate. Please.
You need this more than we do.
You need this more than we do.
She's not embarrassed. She doesn't know what money means. There's no status. So she'll take it back and she'll say, "When we get what we came here for, we'll come see you again."
And when she says that, a sudden, freezing, howling gust of wind whoosh, barrels through the street. And the halfling town crier, still making his round, stumbles forward as a gust catches him off guard, almost toppling his precarious stack of papers. He scrambles to steady himself, but the top portion of his stack flies free, scattering roughly 20 pages into the air. One of them flutters directly into Lortho's face with a loud smack. He staggers back, letting out a startled, what? He grabs at the paper, peeling it off his face. For a moment, he stares at it in confusion, before his expression shifts, his ears flattening against the side of his head. Meryl? He turns it to face you. And the large header at the top reads, "Frost Fair Gazette," in bold, elegant letters, with the main headline below a sharp, capitalized text reading, "Outlander Frost Goliath terrorizes the city." Beneath the title, a strikingly accurate mugshot drawing stares back at you. His sharp, calculating features are rendered in bold lines, capturing the intensity of his expression. The likeness is unmistakable. It's Skogul. Lortho continues to read the letter out loud. The city guard reports a shocking incident at the Foundry District late last night where a frost Goliath wreaked havoc. leaving several workers injured and causing extensive property damage. The Goliath, described as highly dangerous and armed, was captured with extreme prejudice and remanded to the punishment in the Iron Deep. So fear not, citizens, our streets are safe again. Any further information about this criminal are encouraged to speak up before his trial, which will be held on Snowfell 1 Shadow Day. What's a trial? And Elanian looks back down at him and he says, that's where they decide if he lives or dies.
Oh my gosh. He must have done something really bad.
It says here that he had a confrontation with the city guard and tried to cut off somebody's head.
He could have cut off my head. He could have cut off your head.
Oh my god, he could have cut off my head!
But he gave us money. Oh my god, do you think he was trying to trick us?
I think he was. I told you. I think there was something off about that guy. He just literally was watching us from behind that snowdrift. He just popped his head up from out of nowhere. He was just standing alone in the wilderness. Why was? I told you.
She looks up at Lanyon and she says, he's like the first person we met here.
Frostfair is a beautiful but dangerous city. You have to keep your eyes on everyone.
She looks down at the paper. When is Shadow Day?
Snowfell 1 Shadow Day would be 2 weeks from today.
And she looks at Lortho and she says, I think we'll be long gone by then.
I hope so. I don't want to see what happens if that guy gets angry and they do decide to kill him. That could be crazy. He was big.
He was big. Look at what they're saying he did. Bunch of destruction and tried to cut someone's head off.
Running across the rooftops? That's kind of cool, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I guess I kind of wish I could have seen that, but geez. I guess you were right, Lortho. Be careful about who we trust. And then she looks very pointedly at
Elanian.
Yeah.
Roll a perception for me.
20.
He just stabs you in the face. No, so on the underneath, in a much smaller word bubble underneath the main story of Skokel terrorizing the city as this absolutely just savage bestial monster, just a caveman, really, kind of maybe somebody with 1 or 2 brain cells, just a savage monster who doesn't particularly care about anything other than mindless destruction, basically. He's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. Underneath all of that is a blurb about how there is a vigil today for Ruvidon at his estate, and that any and all are welcome to come and deliver, gifts or well-wishings to the family.
And she points at that and she's like, oh my gosh, look, the whole city's going to be gathered for him. Can't imagine everyone would care this much about somebody who wouldn't help us. She looks back at the crier who's hopefully trying to pick his pieces of paper up.
Yeah.
And she motions to Lortho, fold that piece of paper up and keep it.
Okay. So he does, and, you follow after Elanian back through the city, and then you continue back down the way you came, all the way to this gate, and passing through Noble's Gate was, to Meryl's great appreciation, as easy as Elanian had said. The guards at the gate spared little more than a glance at the three of you as the High Shepherd of Neanthera led the way. Here, the streets are wider, the cobblestones are smoother, and meticulously maintained. Ornate lampposts are at regular intervals with crystal lanterns glowing faintly even in the morning light. The buildings here are all mansions, connected together and partitioned off behind private gates and with walls of their own. You see multiple noble crests on a post, with the Kaskar K pointing northwest past the citadel of the Everprime. Lortho looks around and says, I don't think I've ever seen houses this big before. It's like they all have their own elder home.
God, these families must be huge. 30 siblings and 40 grandchildren and 600 great-grandchildren. How are they filling these houses with people? Where are all of them?
No, my dear. 5 or 6, maybe, at tops, other than the servants that work for the... Does your village not have a class system?
What is that? I mean, maybe we do.
Describe how your village functions for me, please.
And she's thinking about the people who were trying to, like, what's it called? Census her at the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
Can I, like, roll a perception to see, like, if his interest seems friendly or if it's, like, the same?
You can roll an insight for that.
Or an insight? Okay.
You don't sense anything out of ordinary. He's just kind of curious because you seem like you know very little about this city. Literally from the moment you've met, he's just been like, God, they are straight up like babies.
So she says, well, we're all kind of just one big family. Some of us, like, I'm a hunter, so I'm responsible with a few other people. And she, like, thinks about Kale for 1 second and then doesn't let herself be sad. She's like, so we hunt and gather all the food for the village. And, you know, we've got, like we mentioned, we have snow seers. So they're in charge of keeping the grove clean and well kept and ongoing prayers. And then we've got, you know, Lortho here is a fisher. So he goes out and he fishes for our town. And we all just do our part and we share everything. And I mean, I wouldn't say anybody's better than anyone else. I mean, our elders are definitely closest to our leaders, but we all just live and contribute.
His eyes kind of raise and he looks over and I see. Well, here, as in most of the world, those who have more than the rest of us value grandeur as much as they value secrecy. So each of those houses are for one family, roughly 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe maximum. But your village sounds quite nice. And Lortho goes, there's no secrets in our village. We tell everybody everything. That's an admirable trait, but acting like that in the wrong place can get you hurt or worse. And then he kind of like looks around the village square and he goes, stay close, both of you. Our destination isn't far.
She kind of edges closer to him because she's watching him look around, and this is now the second person who has told them, like, don't trust people. But she I don't even think that she's super familiar with, like, deceit, like, because they all just tell each other.
They all just tell
things,
each other
all
everything.
The happenings. Yeah. So I think she's like hearing what he's saying, but she's trying to comprehend it. She's trying her best.
As the three of you pass through Noble Square, you see that big crack on the map?
Yes.
So there's a massive crack that splits the otherwise smooth stonework of the street. Faint sulfuric warmth rises in a pale glow from the depths, casting a green light on the closest cobblestones.
Oh shit. Okay. What's that?
And he goes, that crack marks where Frostfair first broke ground. The city was built on this central plateau because of the sulfur pits beneath it, a resource the dwarves of Kavar Kildara have used for millennia. This spot in particular was where the first villagers pitched their tents, huddling around its warmth. It's been left open as a monument ever since.
Wow. You guys really have a sense of history and what happened at each spot here.
The city has existed
So interesting.
for 500 years.
Wow, that's a long time. She has no comprehension of what 500 years is like, but...
No. So, as they pass through the Noble Square, the sound of hooves on stone catches your attention. And from the mansion on your left, you see one of the gates open. A black carriage clatters by, drawn by a pair of snow-white horses with long, flowing manes. The halfling driver is dressed in a heavy cloak and fur-lined hat, and he tips his head slightly to you as he passes. Behind him, the carriage's curtains are drawn, concealing whoever is inside.
Have they seen carriages like this in the city yet?
No.
So she like looks at it and she goes, "Whoa, what was that?"
That's a carriage. Think of it as like a moving basket that someone important sits inside of, and somebody else draws the horses to drive them around the city. It's a way to get around places a lot faster than walking. Plus, you stay warmer. People here don't like the cold as much as we do. They don't appreciate it.
If they had one of those at home, like the wheels are huge. She's like, I don't even think that could work down our street. Like, is it so they don't have to walk in the snow?
That's one reason, yes.
Do you know how fast we can get from one place to the other at home with one of those?
Maybe we should take one of those instead of just a regular cart. It's like an ultra cart.
It is like an ultra cart. She's thinking like if the piece of paper that they asked for or that they wanted cost 3 gold. She's trying to do math in her head. She's like, well, 4 wheels, 2 horses. That's probably like 20 gold, right?
My dear, to purchase a carriage like that, you're looking at something closer to 300 to 400 gold. That was a very fancy one. You could get them much, much cheaper. I'm sure that the two of you could find something much cheaper that would do exactly what you needed to do. That was a high-end luxury carriage.
She's like, wait. There's different types. So like that one costs more money because it's better wood?
Exactly. You're catching on, my dear. The nicer the quality, the more expensive the gold. So you guys are at this long-ass road here. At the top of the stairs, you see a long street, 10 blocks long, running the entire length of the citadel of the Everprime. A long row of people stands in the street, roughly 500 to 600 long, wrapping all the way to the Cascar estate. You see families of different races clustered together. You see groups of elderly women. You see people on their own. To a man, every single person carries some type of grief offering. Some are dressed in finery, but it's easy to see that most of these people wear the quality of clothing you saw prevalent in Lower City. Plates of food, flowers, bundles of herbs, carved trinkets, handwritten notes, all clutched in tightly trembling hands.
It's reaffirming what an Elanion. Can you say his name again? Elanion? Elanion. Sorry, that just escaped me.
No, you're good.
I have it written, but Elanion. So it's just reaffirming what he said about like some of the words he used. I don't think she was fully aware of, but she does know, I would say, the word like advocate. So she's thinking about how he, like everything she's looking at is reaffirming that Rubidon was, like, by her standards, a good person, because all of these people have gathered. They have funerals at home, so she knows the importance of like sending the deceased off with honor. And so that's kind of what she's seeing reflected here. So she's feeling more optimistic and feeling like, okay, this person really does have or did have people who cared about him. So there's no way that his family's not going to help. But she's also like, oh my gosh, I don't know if we have an offering, is her second thought.
Lortho beside you goes, I still can't believe he's actually gone. Caro made it sound like he was a hero. He was a hero, but mortality comes for us all, no matter how great we become. Though some lives burn brighter than others, and our goddess allows their warmth to remain long after they fade, which you can see here. And he points towards the long-ass line. As you guys kind of step around the edges of the line, Meryl glances down at a small Minotaur girl who clutches a simple wooden carving of a little bird. And the child's father kneels down beside her, adjusting her scarf as they wait their turn for the estate gates. The little girl gives you a wave.
She waves back.
And now that you're at the back of the line, Elanion slows his pace. This is where I take my leave. It was an enjoyable walk, and I've appreciated your company, but we have reached your destination, and I make it a point not to insert myself into others' private matters.
I think you're the first person I've ever heard say something like that.
Thank you, sir. You really saved our tails. Elanion just nods and says, it was my pleasure. And if you find yourselves with a moment to spare when you're done, return to the spire before you leave, at least to return the cloaks. I would greatly appreciate the opportunity to learn more of the deeper differences in how your people see Anirak, Nianthera, Hiela. Every culture paints her differently, and recording those perspectives for our cultural records is a most cherished duty that I love to give the acolytes.
That rings true to her, because she knows that their town, like the village, also keeps their own records, and there's like dozens, hundreds that she's never even seen. Like her grandmother is familiar with a lot of them, but she didn't even know the one she was looking at the other day.
That long ass scroll that was like
the scroll, yeah, like ran the whole length of the, just like unfurled. So she nods and she says, maybe there's information we could take back to our village too about how you guys worship her.
I'd be happy to discuss it with you over a cup of frigid tea.
And she smiles because that sounds amazing. And she says, we can't thank you enough.
He looks up towards the front of the line and says, tread carefully here. Grief will still weigh heavily on this family, and nobles do not always greet strangers kindly, even with the best of intentions.
She nods. And now she's going to probably go in the very opposite direction of like, you can't trust anyone because this person that she trusts told her not to trust anybody. So she's going to take his words in. We will stop by before we leave. Thank you for showing us such hospitality. We're so glad that Enuric brought us to you.
I wish you well in your endeavors, and may the Frost Mother guide you through any blizzards of discontent. And without another word, the High Shepherd turns and walks back the way you all came. As his figure grows smaller in the distance, Lortho sighs. He was nice.
He was nice. He gave us a lot of information, too. And he didn't have to bring us over here.
Maybe that Buster guy was wrong. And he, looks over at the line and says, so, what do we do now?
I guess we get in line. If we can get to the front of the line, maybe somebody up there is related to Rubidon and we can tell them why we're here. They're letting everybody give their condolences, so there's no reason for them to not hear us out. And then she digs into her bag and hands him a piece of jerky and takes one herself.
Oh,
they only.
Yeah, that's all.
It's like gone.
Yeah, no, it's gone instantly.
Yep. So she savors her jerky and thinks about, her mind kind of wanders back to the paper and to Skogul and to she's feeling less sure of her instincts because she trusted Skogul and clearly he got himself into some trouble. And if it was written about in the paper, they don't, at home, they don't write down anything that's not true. So obviously this piece of paper that she's got is the truth of exactly what happened.
Right.
And she's feeling kind of lost. She's feeling good about what
That's
they're
sad.
doing in the moment, but she's feeling all frazzled and turned around because Buster said not to trust anybody, but they just met somebody who she trusts, but then he said not to trust anybody. So she's and then Lortho was right. He was wary of Skogul. And so she's kind of thinking man, maybe Lortho has it figured out a little bit better than I do. Maybe all that time spent alone in the woods hunting really kind of messed with her ability to read people.
2 hours after Meryl and Lortho joined the line, they're finally 2 groups away from the mansion's gatehouse.
Now that she knows that class is a thing, she's paying more attention to how to assess maybe where someone would fall. So she's watching people who she assumes to be nobles because they are dressed in shinier clothes, cleaner clothes. They're groomed differently, so they're not covered in grime. And she's probably been watching those people's reaction to the people in line. I would say she's observing that maybe the nobles are seeming this huge line of people is just not welcome in their area. But because this is a kind of a ceremonial event, they're allowed here. So I think anytime she sees anybody with overtly fancy looking fur or anything, she's gonna point that out and be a little bit increased unease about that class of people who seem to be using fur as a decoration rather than a necessity. It's not keeping them warm, it's just because maybe she's noticing that maybe potentially that's a status symbol. I would say she's probably listening to like what the people around her are saying and hears a couple little snippets about people talking specifically about Ruvidon. I think she would want to be listening in on trying to gather information about like what kind of person he was, how these people felt about him, just further emphasis on like him being like a beloved person in this town to the people who she more identifies with. Like she's not walking in thinking that she's a noble. She's basically been told since the moment they got here, like, you guys don't have money, so you fit more in with the people who live in the low city.
She heard a lot of different things. There was talk about him spending his family money in Lowtown. They would go down and have extravagant expenditures buying lots of food for the town hall, and then they would throw local feasts to invite people to come and celebrate on festival days. They recently built a park for children in the lower district near the Everfrost archive. And again, more sort of like back talk about like how people are thinking that his death might have something to do with him being so outspoken against prison reform and the warden and, this bill coming up in the Glacial Concord and etc. So she's like a lot of different things that people are talking about. There's different opinions, but the overall sort of vibe that she gets from everybody is that like he was pretty much beloved. And the Cathcart estate itself is a massive compound, and it's enclosed by this high stone fence crowned with sharp frost-tipped spikes. And over the wall, you see multiple trees, so there must be some kind of courtyard or garden inside. And its mansion walls sprawl across multiple buildings, and all are made from polished mithril ore imported from the Fairlands. 2 orc guards stand at the gate, clad in gleaming silver and gold armor that holds the Cascar's crest, a mountain peak encircled by the rays of a sun rising up behind it. Their watchful eyes follow the group ahead of you when it's their turn to approach. And Lortho says, "Okay, so going over this one last time, what are you going to say to them when we get up there?"
Well, I'm going to say to them that we were sent here on important business to meet with Ruvidon Cascar on behalf of Caro of Silvershine Hollow, and that we were extremely saddened to hear about Ruvidon's passing, but we were still hoping to meet with a member of his family to conduct our business.
That's really good. You nailed it. Like, it's straight, it's succinct, it's to the point. Just keep your confidence up. There's no reason why they'll turn us away.
Yeah, we've got this.
And when she says that, one of the guards weaves you forward. At the same time, the group ahead of you steps back out of the gatehouse to leave with a "next."
So she steps up. I say she just stands as tall as she can. She's trying to look dignified.
Yeah. Are you still wearing the blue cloaks of the temple, or are you wearing your own green tunic and stuff?
I think they still got the cloaks on, just because it seemed to, it got them this far.
Yeah, okay. Well, then as you pass by the guards, one of the orcs nods his head in reverence and says, "Acolytes."
Guard.
Lortho says, "Winter's blessings on you this morning, my son." And then he looks over at Meryl and smiles with a mischievous grin. It's clear he's enjoying the stealth element of their disguises. So as you step into the gatehouse, the morning's chill is replaced by the comforting warmth of multiple hearths. Polished hardwood floors gleam underneath exotic rugs from distant lands. Plush chairs run along the center of the room, and the walls are covered with breathtaking paintings and other artwork, statues, carvings, bowls. To your left, you notice an astonishing collection of the gifts from today, currently being stacked and categorized with meticulous care by multiple house attendants. Near the gifts, Meryl notices a painting stood up on an ornate easel. Bundles of flowers have been carefully laid at its base, while other rings of blooms drape across the top like a garland of tribute. The painting is of Ruvidon. He's a handsome young man with sharp ears, ruffled blonde hair, and a wry smile that seems to hold a secret. He's depicted wearing a bright pastel suit, and the gleam in his eye exudes charm and confidence. All of this falls away, however, when Meryl's eyes land on the figure waiting for you in the center of the room. The sight is so foreign, so utterly outside the bounds of what you've encountered, that it takes your breath away. The being's form is both humanoid and entirely otherworldly. Its skin, if you could call it that, is smooth, gleaming silver metal, polished to an almost mirror-like sheen. Beneath its pointed, angular ears and the center of its throat, you catch glimpses of clockwork gears, turning with a deliberate mechanical precision. Its glowing blue eyes radiate a cool, otherworldly light, steady and unblinking. The figure is dressed in an impeccably tailored outfit of black and deep maroon, with delicate silver embroidery tracing elegant, geometric patterns. Every detail from the folds of its sleeves to the polished buttons on its coat is immaculate. When it speaks, its voice is smooth and melodic, but layered with an echo, as though more than one voice resonates within each word.
Welcome to the Cascar Estate. My name is Servitor Thrall. As you can see, all gifts may be placed to the side as you depart. Thank you for your respect in this time of grieving. Your robes suggest you are mendicants from the spire of the Ice Heart. Have you come to deliver your condolences to the family, or to pay respects to Lord Rivedon?
I think that she wasn't expecting to see something so foreign, but can she tell that it's like not, well, is it alive?
Roll an insight for me.
16.
Nothing about this thing says that it comes from the wild. And as you look over at Lortho, he's gone. He's frozen, just locked in awe. I mean, his mouth is agape, his shoulders are slumped forward, his eyes are huge. He's just staring at Servitor Thrall, taking in every possible detail that he can.
I think she's gonna straight up just say, "Are you alive?"
Yes, not in the sense that you would understand as an organic, biological being, but I do carry memories, dreams, hopes, and goals.
We would absolutely love to offer our condolences to the family. We've traveled a very far way to meet with Rivedon Cascar, and when we arrived, we found out what happened. And she'll motion back towards the pile of gifts, and she'll say, "We had very important business with him, and we were sent here by Caro of Silvershine Hollow, and we were hoping to maybe conduct said business with a member of Rivedon's family, since he's no longer here."
And Servitor Thrall tilts his head slightly.
Caro Silvershine, a.k.a. Sir Talks-A-Lot, a.k.a. the Master of Lies, a.k.a. the Plot Twister, a.k.a. Big Daddy Bobaddy, a.k.a. Sass Captain, the Captain of Sass, born Crystal Hollow 17, year 2184. Silvershine Hollow, located redacted, leader of the Quiet Bunch, friend of Rivedon. Notable offenses include inciting the Myconid Rebellion of Septar Key, partaking in an unsanctioned duel in the Master's Hall of the Everfrost Archive, and falsifying identification to impersonate a Minotaur delegate during the Great Summit of 2215. Notable accomplishments include the liberation of the Zakelvian slave miners, negotiating the Kelpic Controls of 2212, and recovering the lost Temple of Carowin during the Siege of Bloodhammer. Awarded the Gilded Lyre by the Bardic College of Frostfire for artistic excellence, and the Silver Laurel for valor in the defense of those in need. Final notation, he is barred from entry to the Dwarven stronghold of Ember Earth for excessive improvisation during a royal performance.
Having finally regained his composure, Lortho looks up at Meryl and goes, "God, your brother's badass."
Oh my god, half of those stories are real. I was making stuff up. There's no freaking possible way that I'm going to even remember to ask him about half of that stuff, but I'm sure that his stories are written down somewhere, so she's like making a mental note to go find his... It's probably a big-ass book that he keeps in the sensorium, like on a podium in the middle of a room, and she just never thought to... look too hard into it because she's heard him tell the stories about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But now she kind of wants to compare. And she's thinking, like, she heard him say that, because that was a lot of information and it was fast, and this thing talks in a different way. So she comprehended some of that, but none of that seemed to indicate that he would be unwelcome. So she'll nod and say, "Yeah, that sounds like Caro. Do you have any information you can share with me about the last time Caro was here?"
Caro Silvershine last attended Cascar Estate 2218 for Rivedon's wedding.
His wedding? So he's married? Is his spouse here?
His widow is in grieving, yes.
And she looks at Lortho, because in grieving could mean multiple things. I mean, they probably have customs at home too. So
Yeah, as she looks over at Lortho, Thrall says,
I apologize, but I have been given strict instructions by the family to allow no direct visitation from the public during this time. However, due to Kero's status within my records, I will inform.
And then a soft, feminine voice interrupts him from behind. Meryl? When you turn to follow the sound, you see a petite known woman step into view. She wears a fine black dress and her auburn hair hangs loose and unkempt around her shoulders. She's got no makeup on and her eyes are red-rimmed. In her disheveled state, she carries a delicate prettiness. A small brass clockwork kestrel sits on her shoulder. The gnome woman blinks in surprise, her expression a mixture of recognition and disbelief as she takes another step forward. Servitor Thrall steps between you.
Madam Catskar, I was just turning these.
The gnome woman raises a hand, silencing him with a gentle but firm gesture.
It's all right, Thrall.
Madam Kaskar steps towards you.
You look just like Kero's drawings. He told us all about you, Wynn and Fen. My name is Ravidia. Rivedon was my brother.
He is taken aback. She knows all everybody's names, and she's like thrilled and relieved. And she says, I'm so sorry about your loss.
Thank you. Is Kero here? It would be a blessing to see such a friendly face.
He's not. He's in Silvershine Hollow, but he did send me here on his behalf.
And her kind
We're
of...
so sorry to hear about what happened to Ruvidon. We heard about it the day we arrived.
And her hopeful expression kind of fades and she goes,
I see. Well, it looks like you've had quite the trip of your own getting here.
Yeah, it's been an adventure. She looks at Lortho.
Well, come. Come with me. You both look like you could use a warm bath and some food. There'll be time to talk after. I'll have the attendants prepare something for you. Besides, catching up on what Kero's been up to will give me something to think about. Long enough to take the pain away. At least for a little while.
do you follow?
Yes.
Together with Ravidia, you and Lortho leave the gatehouse through another doorway, stepping into a beautiful, lush garden. Servitor Thrall watches as the door closes behind you, then turns back to the guards and nods, eliciting another "Next!" as a new group steps into the gatehouse with gifts. That's one more chapter in the book, listeners. Meryl and Lortho sure got a lot done this morning, didn't they? Met a few people, learned a couple things, and finally got to the destination they've been so striving for from the start of this tale. Join us next week as we check back in with the less savory side of Frostfair, as Etna and Skogul get into one hell of a spider fight.